Hi, it's Mary Beth, and I'm here in my kitchen science lab again. Today we have a science lesson about the life cycle of the pumpkin. So we're going to start this lesson with a story. I'm going to read this story called Pumpkin Jack. This story is written and illustrated by Will Hubble. So the same person, Will Hubble, wrote the story and did the pictures. All right, I'm going to turn this so you can see while I'm reading. Pumpkin Jack. When Tim carved his first pumpkin, it was fierce and funny and just perfect. A jack-o'-lantern this good deserved a name, so Tim gave it one, Jack. Long after the best trick-or-treat candy was eaten, Tim still kept Jack. At night, when a candle made Jack's face dance on the wall and filled the dark with warm pumpkin smells, Tim felt Jack was almost magic. Yet too soon, the spell was broken. "This pumpkin is beginning to rot," announced Mom. "It's time to throw it out." Tim knew it was useless to argue. He carried Jack to the garden, which was filled with the brown ghosts of last summer's plants. A dead garden is better than a trash can, thought Tim. Still, it made him sad to leave Jack outside and alone. Sounds like he was going to let it compost outside. Whenever chores or play brought Tim to the garden, he looked at Jack. Every time, Jack was different. He became wrinkled, and his fierce smile began to look silly. Mold spread over Jack's bright orange skin. As the days turned colder, Jack grew flatter. Winter began. Soon, Jack was hidden beneath snow, and Tim forgot about him. The cold, heavy jacket days came. Snowman and sliding days, indoor days, Thanksgiving, Christmas, and Valentine's. When all these days had passed and the March winds melted the snow, Tim found Jack. There wasn't much left. Just a faded and crumpled pumpkin skin, a stem, and a few seeds. Jack's Halloween magic was a distant memory now. Tim scraped a thin blanket of earth over the last bits of his pumpkin. "Goodbye, Jack," he whispered. When spring turned barefoot warm, a tiny sprout appeared where Jack had been. Tim found it and guessed what it was. In the days that followed, Tim weeded and watered and watched the sprout. Slowly and steadily, the plant changed and grew. It branched and spread a web of vines over the ground, but no pumpkins appeared. The days turned hot. Flowers opened on the plant each morning, yellow stars that twisted shut forever in the afternoon. Still, there were no pumpkins. Finally, Tim found a little green ball growing behind a crumpled blossom. A pumpkin! Tim let out a whoop and ran to show his mom. By August, the plant had spilled onto the lawn. Tim's favorite game became pumpkin hunting. He carefully waded among the leaves, searching for green pumpkins like hidden treasures. Oh, I see this one here. School began again, and the days cooled. Tim had less time to visit the garden. When he did, the pumpkin plant seemed tired. There were few new leaves, and the old tattered ones no longer hid the fat green pumpkins. Then, one October morning, Tim woke to see frost coating the garden. The frozen plants seemed changed to pale blue glass. There's one right there. After school, Tim discovered what the frost had done. The pumpkin plant's leaves were as limp as wet paper. It was dying. Tim searched among the withered leaves for the unripe pumpkins. He picked them and put them on the front porch, hoping for one more change. By Halloween, the pumpkins had ripened to bright orange. There were many, for the plant had been generous. Tim was generous too. He gave away all but one. From jack-o'-lantern to seed to pumpkin again, the circle was almost complete. Now it was time for Tim to do his part. He gave his pumpkin a face. It smiled at him in a fierce and funny way. Tim smiled too and said, "Welcome back, Jack." And that was Pumpkin Jack, written and illustrated by Will Hubble. I hope you liked that story. It really does show us the life cycle of the pumpkin through that story. You should have received a paper that has pictures of the life cycle of the pumpkin. And this is something that you can color in, but let's look at it right now so that we can remember what the life cycle is. So we start with a pumpkin. Follow the arrows. Remember, Jack made a jack-o'-lantern and then left the pumpkin outside and kind of covered up the seeds once the pumpkin was all flat and it was decomposing is what it was doing outside. So then there's the seed, and the seed grew into a sprout, a little green sprout. As the sprout begins to grow, vines shoot out from the sprout, and bigger leaves grow off of the vine. And then flowers start to form. Big yellow flowers, and they're very pretty. The flowers, once they start to wilt, the green pumpkins form right behind the flowers. It's fun to look for them if you have a pumpkin plant. And then, as the green pumpkins ripen, they turn bright orange. And then the cycle starts again with the seeds. See how it just doesn't end? That is the life cycle of the pumpkin. So I have some colored pencils, and I'm going to color in my life cycle of the pumpkin chart. You can do that yourself. I'm going to put this to the side because we have a couple more things to do. So you probably noticed in your take-home bag, you should have gotten a small pumpkin. I bet that was kind of fun to get. It was fun to put them all in your bags. So this is the part that your adult can do for you. I have a pretty sharp knife, and I'm going to use it to cut my pumpkin. But this is something that your adult needs to do for you so that everyone stays safe. So I'm going to cut my pumpkin. I'm going to stand up to do this. Down the side. Let's see what happens when we cut it open. Whoa, look at that. What do we see? Lots and lots of seeds. This is the flesh of the pumpkin and the skin and the stem, and inside we have seeds and seeds. A lot of times people like to take the seeds out and rinse them off and bake them. You could do that with these seeds if you want. I also included in your take-home bag, plastic bag with a dry paper towel. I have already gotten my paper towel wet. It's damp. It's not sopping wet, but it's pretty wet. I'm going to put it in this bag, and I'm going to take a couple of seeds. I think I'll take 5 seeds. It's kind of sticky and gooey in there. Get 5 seeds out of there. You can put more than that, or you can just put 1 in there if you want. I'm going to put them in here so that I can see them, but that they're right up against the paper towel. I'm going to try to get the air out of this bag and seal it up. And then I'm going to go hang it in the window, or place it right next to the window. And we'll be able to watch as these seeds sprout. It's going to take a little while, so you'll want to keep watching. But this is something you can check back on every day to see what's happening. See if you can get one of these seeds to start to sprout. If you do, after that, you can put them in a container with some soil, and you might have a pumpkin plant start growing. Wouldn't that be exciting? We'll check back on that in our other science lessons when we're together. So, I hope you enjoyed exploring your pumpkin. You are welcome to take your seeds out, scoop them out with a spoon, and get them, rinse them off. And you can do that with your parents or your family and have some roasted pumpkin seeds. I am going to also include online a link to a song that can help you remember the life cycle of the pumpkin. And I'm going to sing it for you. And but there's also a song that has it, and it's fun because it has it go faster and faster and then slower, and it has pictures that go with it. So I just learned this song, so I am going to sing it to you. And I made up some little gestures for it too. All right, here we go. First you have the seed, then the little sprout, then a whole bunch of vines come tumbling out. Then you have the flower, then the green pumpkin, then the big orange pumpkin starts the whole thing again. First you have the seed, then the little sprout, then a whole bunch of vines come tumbling out. Then you have the flower and the green pumpkin, and the whole big orange pumpkin starts the whole thing again. So you can sing that song in different ways, faster and slower, quiet and louder. It's a fun song to sing, and it reminds you of the life cycle of the pumpkin. So have fun coloring in your pumpkin life cycle and observing your seeds, and maybe even cooking up some seeds if your family decides to do that. I hope you enjoyed this lesson and the life cycle of the pumpkin. Bye-bye.